Welcome to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Here's your host, Casey Bubba and Scott Bogman.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pre-Snap Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL. And more importantly, download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, where you have everything in the palm of your hands to build your winning DFS lineups. You can check me out on Twitter at BDentric, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how we doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for a fun week of games. These look like some good ones, and I like some of these prices too. So let's dive right in, Bub.
Yeah, it should be an absolute blast. You know, we don't have to worry about the Thursday night game. That's gone. No Sunday night football, no Monday night football. Two teams on bye. Party time. Let's get at it. And we'll start off with Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Arizona -2.5, over under a 49. Obviously, we're still waiting to find out if Kyler's playing or not, if DeAndre's playing or not. All things that'll definitely make an impact. So before we get there, I want to clarify, in recent weeks, when we record this show, we always tell you there's going to be news that comes out. There's been a bunch of news.
Dude, last week in particular was nuts.
It's going to change the way we view a slate. So you have to know that going into it. So again, hit us up on Twitter, hit the app up, whatever you need. If you have questions, like, don't just leave this podcast and go, that's it. There's so much that takes place after this. This is just to get you ready. All right, Arizona, Seattle, what do you like?
Well, I like here, we're not going to get a 100% quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. It's either going to be Murray, who's too expensive to play, not at 100%, 79 and 82, although I do love anybody against Seattle defense. So let's rely on James Conner, and 61 and 7,200. A little pricey for sure, but I love him this week. Seattle's defense is soft. I think he could be huge. We saw A.J. Dillon run right down the throat after Aaron Jones got hurt last week. So I think he could be an excellent play. I also like this 6,500 price on Russell Wilson, coming off maybe the worst game of his career. First time he ever got shut out. But they brought him back a little too early because of that pin in his finger. And I think he was just a touch early. I think he'll be better this game. Maybe not even 100% still, but better this game. So he's definitely an option. If you wanted to play Lockett or Metcalf, I'm okay with it. Kind of don't want to mess with Cardinals wide receivers, just for the simple fact of I don't know who the quarterback's going to be this week. So Ertz is an okay expensive tight end play, but once again, don't really want him just based on I don't know who the quarterback is going to be. It's either going to be Colt McCoy, who won't be 100%. He got hurt last week, or a not 100% Kyler Murray. So not a lot to love here. My favorite is James Conner. I like Russell Wilson's price, and not a whole lot else on in this game at all, though.
It's really weird because I love the prices in general in this game.
Right.
The total's 49, and they made that total assuming Kyler might not play still. So, like, Vegas isn't just flat out saying Kyler's in. We don't know. And that's what makes this tricky because, like, I love the James Conner call, 61 and 72. Should get a workhorse. If he doesn't get 20-plus touches in this game, something horribly wrong happened. Like, this should be a bell cow type performance for James Conner. So, yes, phenomenal play. Love it. But when you look at it, like, I love the Wilson, Metcalf, and Lockett prices. All very good. 65, 68, 6,000 on DK. A little more expensive on FanDuel, but still not bad at 73, 75, and 68. Fine. The two that are really intriguing to me, though, if Carson's still banged up, Alex Collins at 5K and 56 is very, very interesting because I think he's one of those overlooked guys on this entire slate. So he's going to get his fair share of touches, makes for an interesting tournament play. The other guy I will mention, as long as it's either Murray or McCoy, no, they'll both be banged up, like you said. Either one of them, though, not the third-string quarterback. I still don't mind Christian Kirk at 57 on DK. I don't like him on FanDuel at 65. I want the PPR aspect to it. But Kirk at 57 is very, very, very intriguing to me. So Kirk and Collins will be the two tournament-type plays I think are very intriguing in this game, barring some injury news. All right, let's head to Chicago. Baltimore Ravens, Chicago Bears. Baltimore is -6 in this game, which is surprising to some on the road. Over under 45, Bogman. I know what we like in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Justin Fields for me. This price of 5,700 is incredible. I think he, coming off the bye week, looking so good against Pittsburgh. Now, literally right before we started this, we did see that Allen Robinson cropped up on the injury report, didn't practice today, has a little bit of a hammy issue, but Darnell Mooney, I love at 5,200, 5,200 and 6,000. I just think that's a great value. I think Cole Kmet could be in play at 34 and 51. We saw Jimmy Graham even step up a little bit last week. I'm not saying I would go to him, but he's cheap at 25 and 4,400. Also Bateman, 45 and 5,800. If you think Chicago stays in this game in any level, then Bateman is going to be a good play at that price. He is quickly becoming the best wide receiving option on this team. Marquise Brown at 71 and 73 isn't a terrible play, but with Lamar being sick, maybe not being 100%, I don't know how much I'm going to mess with that. So my favorite plays here are definitely Fields and Mooney.
Yeah, I like this game. I mentioned it on our Picks and Bet show. I mentioned it when we recorded the ITL football show this week. I think this is one of those sneaky potential stacking games. I really do. Like, I don't mind the Lamar side. I never do. He's a little pricey. I love the price on Fields, like you mentioned, at 57 and 68. I think it's phenomenal. You said it all. He busted out right before the bye week. Another bye week to kind of work with him some more. I think he's a phenomenal play and a great value on this slate. You're going to have some very good value quarterbacks this week. I think Fields is near the top of that value list. And then, like you said, I don't mind Montgomery at 55 and 68, kind of a mix-it-up thing. We've talked about on the recap shows some of the stacks now. You go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or quarterback, running back to be different, and they're being quite well. Montgomery looked healthy, got all the touches. I think that's a very good price tag on a Monty at $5,500 and 68 on FanDuel. Flip side, I never mind Marquise Brown, but right now, the way Rashad Bateman, 6 or more targets in every game he's been in this year, 4,500 on DK, 58 on FanDuel. You'd imagine this defense wants to focus on Brown. Brown's been a beast, so nothing against him. But I think Bateman at that price point is phenomenal. A great price tag, almost cash viable. I don't want to fully say cash viable because Chicago games can get wonky, but I think at his price point and the target share he should get, it's pretty darn outstanding. And then I never mind Darnell Mooney. Similar to the last game, if you want a tournament play, though, Allen Robinson at $4,900 and 57. I know it's been horrible. Absolutely horrible. But if there's ever a week, Bogman, coming off a bye to game plan a little bit more for Allen Robinson, this has to be the week. If they don't do it this week, it's like, what the heck are we doing here, guys? So I think at that price point, it's pretty darn nice. This is a very affordable stack. That's all I have to say. All right, Cincinnati at Las Vegas, potentially my favorite place to stack up this week outside of the game of the week, which everyone will be stacking. But Cincinnati -1 over under 49.5, Bogman.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can go, like Bub said, pretty much anywhere here. If you want to go Joe Burrow, 66.74, I think that's a great price for him. Specifically, I mean, just $100 more than Russell Wilson, who looked like garbage last week. I think that's a really good price for Burrow. Carr, 59.72 is fine. You can play Mixon or Jacobs. Jacobs is a nice cheap option at 6,000 and 6,900. Jamar Chase, I love T. Higgins in this game at 54 and 65. Hunter Renfrow has been one of the best. Chris Collinsworth loves him, as everybody knows, at 58 and 6,100. Brian Edwards, I know you like, Bub, is a good play. Waller has been more involved. CJ Uzama has been pretty good recently. You can pretty much play anything but a defense in this game, I think.
Yeah, I would not play defense. Yes, if a defense goes off in this game, it just wasn't meant to be. Right. Say it. But Burrow at 66 is one of my favorite quarterbacks of the week. Like our new thing was we're going to recap options, our top plays at certain positions. I have a feeling Burrow will be one of my top 3 quarterbacks this week. I absolutely love Joey Burrow this week. Coming off the bye, it's just a great spot here. I think Mixon's a phenomenal, again, the quarterback running back combination we talked about. It's worked for this team. They've been one of the winning weeks with Burrow and Mixon and Chase. Like, this is a thing we've seen, and this Raiders defense just got destroyed last week. And each week it seems like they kind of get worse and worse without like a random good game in there. So give me Burrow, give me Mixon. Love Jamar Chase at 72 and 77, but I think this could be a huge T. Higgins week. 54 on DK, 65 on FanDuel. The dude's been like double-digit production time. He's perfect for cash. He's a cash game lock pretty much, but he's got that upside. He's not finding the end zone. If he finds the end zone once or twice, he's going to blow this thing up. So I think T. Higgins is a phenomenal play this week. Bring it back with your Hunter Renfrows, your Brian Edwards for value, 41 and 55. I love this game. The last thing I'll mention, if you don't want to full stack this game, but you want pieces of this game, I think Josh Jacobs at 6K and 69 is intriguing because I think Las Vegas is going to rely on him a lot. You can run all over Cincinnati. And so that could be a way for them to kind of game plan to keep it together without doing a shootout, because they will lose a shootout 9 out of 10 times in this game. So I think Josh Jacobs at 6K and 69 is an interesting angle to play in this one. Dallas at Kansas City. This is the game of the week I was speaking of, where we have Kansas City minus 2.5 over under 56. Bogman.
Yeah, I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes obviously went crazy last week. 76 and 83 is expensive, but probably the best play quarterback this week. Dak, also a good option as Kansas City's defense looked better, but it's still not good. And it was just against Vegas last week. Zeke, Pollard is good. I know you like him. Daryl Williams, because it looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to miss another week at 54 and 63. It's just a great priced option there. Amari Cooper, I think, could bounce back at 62 and 73. Still a little expensive. So if you want to go to Lamb at 76 and 8,000, I get it. Tyreek, always expensive. Whatever other wide receiver you would want here, I don't know, because it's been a little sparsed out. But Kelsey is a great play. You're going to have to find other spots, of course, if you want to play Kelsey. But 71 and 73, he's playable. Dude gets in the end zone. So I like a lot of parts of this game. My favorite probably being, Patrick Mahomes, Zeke, and Daryl Williams, but Lamb and Tyreek and Kelsey always in play.
Yeah, you could go many ways in this game for sure. Either quarterback is in play. I prefer Mahomes at home in this game, but that could be really playing from behind and having to throw it a ton. So it's very intriguing. I prefer Pollard over Zeke personally, just for the savings, because I think Pollard still gets his 10 plus touches. I probably won't use either one. I'd rather use Daryl Williams if I'm using a running back at that price point. Like you mentioned, 54 and 63 is just dumb. That is like very, very nice. But on the flip side, you got CeeDee Lamb with Michael Gallup back. CeeDee playing out of the slot has been tremendous. So he's a great price point. But speaking of Michael Gallup, he's 42 and 54. So he's a nice cheap piece of this pie. Got right back in the offense last week. I could see if they have to throw at the volume we're thinking they're going to have to throw at, Gallup's going to get 6+ targets and have a very, very solid game at that price point. So he's a phenomenal value in this one. And then on the Chiefs side, you got Hill, you got Kelsey, as you mentioned. Mecole Hardman's only 4K and 55, and Byron Pringle's 34 and 53. Pringle had the touchdown last week. Both of them are getting their usage. Like Bogman said, it's kind of hard to pick that last one, but it's a tournament play. So I prefer Hardman at 10 out of 10 times. But if you want to use Pringle, I don't
And Josh Gordon started and it had a lot of snaps. So,
yeah, and what's scary is the big man said that his game's coming.
Yeah.
So, which he's 3K. If you want to take that risk that it's this week, it should be a firework week. So it makes sense. It's one of those things, like I say, like with certain the defense in the last game. If Gordon beats me, it probably wasn't meant to be. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be shocked at all, is what you're saying. So I get it.
Not this year. You can't be surprised by anything this year.
And he's free. 3,000. He's 3,000 and 5,000. That's the bare minimum at both positions. So if you got to do it, you got to do it. A game you can almost cross off for the week, though, is the Detroit Lions at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland minus 10 in this game, Bogman, with a whopping 43.5 total.
Yeah, I tell you what. Here's the plays I like in this game. Dearness Johnson, if Nick Chubb doesn't play, because we know Kareem Hunt is out, he's at 56 and 8,000. DeAndre Swift, you could play any single week, specifically this week and last week, because Goff got hurt like in the first quarter, and all they did was run. That's all they did was run the ball. And Jamal Williams looks like he might miss another week. Jamar Jefferson got hurt, so the creative player, Godwin Igwebuike, I guess is I don't know how you say his name, but he had a long touchdown. He could get involved as well. And is $4,000 on DK, not even listed on FanDuel. So I don't even think they had him in the roster. So Swift and I know you like Landry a little bit. That's about it for me.
Yeah, the one real play in this game, because I don't even try to be cute. Like I see Landry as a PPR option, so I wouldn't even use him on FanDuel. The one play this week, outside of Johnson, if Chubb sits, Browns defense is 31 on DK, 5,000 on FanDuel. Just play the Browns, especially if Jared Goff's out. Play the Browns defense. So enjoy. Green Bay, Minnesota, NFC North battle. This should be a fun one indeed. We got Green Bay minus 2.5 on the road, over under 49. Mr. Bogman.
AJ Dillon is the play here. 6,200 and 7,000. Love him. Green Bay's defense has been playing great, but I'm still like, Dalvin Cook can beat anybody, right? So I'm okay if you want to play Dalvin Cook. He's just very expensive. So probably not going to be on my list. I like Kirk Cousins kind of playing catch up. 61 and 7,400 in this game. Anytime you want to play Devontae, I'm for it. Anytime you want to play Jefferson or Thielen, I'm for it. I really like Tyler Conklin too. We haven't been doing a lot of tight end calls, but got in the end zone twice last week. I think Cousins is just looking for him more in the red zone recently. So give me Tyler Conklin at 3,950, 5,500 as well.
I like that Conklin call quite a bit. And usually he's not just like the 2 for 6 and 2 touchdown guy. He usually gets a lot of work in the passing game. It was just a weird week. It felt like he wasn't quite
3
getting
for
it.
11 and 2 scores. Right.
Yeah, it was a weird week. He's usually much more like involved, probably not the right word, but usually more involved is what it comes down to. But like you just look at since week 7, so the last 4 weeks, Conklin's third on the team in targets, nearly 20%, just behind Jefferson and Thielen. Like he's getting his looks, and he's got the same amount of red zone targets as Jefferson and Thielen over the last 4 weeks. And he's got more end zone targets than them. So it's a very good call because when you look at most tight ends, and they're not all Kelsey and Wallers, where they got to score. That's the bottom line. And Conklin's doing a little bit of the Kelsey Waller, but a lot more of the scoring. So keep that in mind. Back to the game, though. I love the Cousins call. Like I love Rodgers. People know I love Rodgers. When it comes to DFS, like I stack a Cousins stack a lot because Minnesota's always in shootouts, it feels like. No one rosters Cousins. He was like 4% rostered last week because everyone rostered Herbert and company. Everyone's going to want to roster Green Bay, which is fine. I'll take Cousins, and I'll bring it back with, Devontae Adams if you want, or I love A.J. Dillon. Dillon's one of my favorite running back plays in the week, 62 and 7,000. But Devontae's always in play in this game. But it's pretty much Justin Jefferson. The coach came out and said last week we need to get him more involved. They got him way more involved last week. So he got plenty of action. Thielen's still very cheap. I prefer Jefferson over Thielen, but it's a $1,500 difference on DK and an $800 difference on FanDuel, which makes a big, big difference when you're playing things. And then I like the Conklin call quite a bit as well. So definitely a game that you can either stack the game or get mini stacks of this game to pair up with some other games. I wouldn't forget about this game. This is the best thing I can say for you. Houston at Tennessee. Tennessee minus 10-point home favorites, over under 44.5.
I think there's a couple of ways you can go in this game. My favorite play here is probably Deontay Foreman at 4,900 and 6,200 against his former team here. And he just looks better than Peterson. Peterson looks old and slow. Jeremy McNichols isn't a guy that's going to carry the load. So it's going to be a lot of Deontay Foreman in this game at 49 and 6,200. I think Brandon Cooks can always be in play, and I love this price on him this week at 6,000 and 6,600. I think that's a good call. And look, Jeff Swaim is a nice punt tight end option at 28 and 46 because he keeps getting in the end zone. Not going to do a lot of work outside of that, but he's a red zone threat for Tennessee right now, who is down a lot of options at wide receiver. So give me Jeff Swaim at 28 and 46 as well.
Yeah, I don't mind the Swaim call at all. I see that's interesting. I like Brandon Cooks is probably my favorite play in this game at 6,066. The Titans defense is good, but I'd rather pay down for the Browns or somebody else if I had to. It's not a game I want a ton of, like Foreman in a PPR format. I want him on DK, not on FanDuel so much. It's a tricky game. If you think Houston keeps it close, there's much more to like here.
Right.
And we both think they cover. Both think they cover. So maybe you do want some more. I just don't feel like going to Ty God, so I kind of just want to one-off it with like a Cook.
It's just too spread around. Like, is it going to be an Akins day? Is it going to be a Rex Burkhead day or a Philip Lindsay day? Like,
and there's much better games to focus on.
Right. There's too many other options to want here. Yeah, you're right.
So you can get little pieces if you want, but as a whole, kind of just passing on this game. And we'll head to Buffalo, Indianapolis at Buffalo. Buffalo minus 7.5, over under a 50. And see, this is a game that I think it's so overlooked with the other games we've already talked about. It's got a total of 50, folks. It's the, I believe, second highest total on the slate. So let's not forget about this game.
Right. I mean, who would you rather have? It's a good call. Would you rather go with Brandon Cooks at 6,000 or pay $100 more for Michael Pittman? Right.
Give me Pittman all day. Yep.
That's a good option there. I mean, if you're going to pay up for a running back, Jonathan Taylor at 83 and 88 is just.
Would you rather have Taylor or Dalvin Cook?
I'd rather have Taylor.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So that's where it gets fun.
And Diggs in here too. Diggs or CeeDee Lamb. Diggs is expensive at 79 and 8,100. I think Lamb's a little less expensive, but I think I'd rather go with Diggs. And obviously, Josh Allen always in play. I love this price on Carson Wentz too at 55 and 6,900. Love that value. I think he's going to bounce back off of his 180-yard week or whatever the heck it was last week. I'm done with it. So I think he could be much better. But I mean, there's little pieces here to like too. Hines has been getting more involved. Zach Moss is a red zone threat. T.Y. Hilton was out there for way more snaps last week at 43 and 57. Zach Pascal is cheap. Dawson Knox is back and not at his peak price either. So there's a lot of little things to like in this game too, Bub.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very, very kind of under the radar game because I think people see Buffalo and Indy and a spread of 7.5. And what do we do? But Josh Allen could be the QB1 this week. We talked about that on the ITL show. There's a lot to like there between using the legs and the air because Indy's defense isn't that great. It's played better of late, still not that great. It's had some great competition to get better against as well. So that's helped. So I like Josh Allen is one of the better pay-up spots to be contrarian. If you want, he's expensive though. So keep that in mind. But Carson Wentz at 55, I think we like some cheaper options better. But if you think this is a 50-point total and gets there, Wentz is going to get his. And so that makes for a very, very intriguing value play. Similar to my thoughts on Cousins, most will want to play Allen in this game because he's got probably the safer floor. Wentz might have the better ceiling in the end when all things are said and done if the game stays close and goes high scoring. So I think Wentz is in play. But I like the idea of Jonathan Taylor at 83. I think it's phenomenal. Diggs had a 46% target share last week on 13 targets. Yeah. Insane. Don't expect that again, but I think he's still a very good play. Mix in some maybe Manny Sanders get going again, but I like Pittman. I think Hilton is a nice value. Played every snap last week, so that's a big upgrade. He's 43 and 57. And then you mentioned, it looks like Knox is back and everything, so you can have some fun there. I think it's a really good game to get some pieces of as well. I like that Green Bay, Minnesota game, Indianapolis, Buffalo. Good pieces to get a hold of for many that just focus on that Dallas, Kansas City action. Miami at the New York Jets. Now, this is a game, folks. Miami -3, over under 44.5. Joe Flacco, everybody.
Look, I'm never going to like Joe Flacco, but I think there's a couple pieces you can't like here. Jalen Waddle is a number one on this list. Love this price on him at 56 and 67. It just doesn't matter. Even if they're smashing New York, it's going to be because Waddle already got his stuff. So love Jalen Waddle here. I also like Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore's just got it done with, doesn't matter what quarterback goes in as long as it's not Zach Wilson. He's been pretty good. So maybe he can get a little eliteness on his side this week as well at 4,900 and 5,900. Love that price on him. If you want to play Gesicki, go for it. I'm about that. Dolphins defense at 36 and 48 is also a good play against a terrible Jets team.
Yeah, I think Tua at 55 and 7,000 is one of the better values on this slate. I'll be honest, because his production continues to increase, at least from a fantasy standpoint. It's not always pretty to watch, but he's been very effective. And you compare that up with Waddle, that's affordable. And I love going back to Gesicki, as you mentioned. He put up that goose egg on Thursday Night Football. Going to turn so many people off. There's some better value options on this big slate. So Gesicki at 52 and 63, I think, is a very nice spot to go to in this game against the New York Jets. The Dolphins defense is by far the probably best play in this game if you're not using the Browns. Dolphins at 36 and 48. They're cheaper than the Browns on FanDuel, more expensive on DraftKings. So those are some options for you here. And then I don't mind the Elijah Moore call in tournaments at 49 and 59. I think Corey Davis will get some love with kind of more of a short passing game potentially with Flacco.
Could be good too.
Yeah, or Crowder, because Flacco likes to keep it simple. So those are interesting angles there. It'll be really tough to see who he's been making a rapport with, but you could see a veteran connection potentially with Flacco. So I wouldn't be too crazy there. But Matt Harmon, one of the really good fantasy writers from I think he's still at Yahoo. He put out there something about Elijah Moore's been playing great. Flacco loves the deep ball. And I said, well, I hope you guys incorporated pass interference yards to your game. So it'll be very effective this week.
That's the eliteness of Flacco. Throw the ball deep and get the flag.
Yep, throw it and pray. All right, a few more games to go here. We got New Orleans at Philadelphia. Philly -1.5 at home, over under 43.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot to love here, right? No, This is not a fantastic game. I'll tell you what, I'll give you one play from this game. Devontae Smith. He's just been so good. 6,400, 6,600. I think Philly's going to be playing catch up against the Saints. I think the Saints win this game. I'll give you two plays. I also like Adam Troutman at this price, 3,300 and 4,800. Troutman, the last 2 weeks in a row, has set career highs in receptions, 4 and then 5. Low bar to work with here, but it seems like Simeon loves throwing to him, and he's the new quarterback. And Troutman is always on the field. He's on the field to block. He's a great blocker, and he's playing almost all the snaps. So I like him at that price as well.
Yeah, a couple tournament plays here. Like I'm not stacking this game up. I like the Troutman call as a cheaper tight end to potentially look at, even in cash at 33 on DK, 48 on FanDuel. Love Devontae Smith in tournaments. Big fan of that. And then the other guy, you know, the Welsh mentioned him, is Deontay Harris, who's been getting a great rapport with Simeon. And the more you look into it, it's been pretty crazy. If you just go back for Simeon's been there for 3 weeks now, it feels like. I got the stats up for target share over the last 3 weeks on the Saints, and Deontay Harris is tied with Adam Troutman for the team lead, both over 17%. They both had 19 targets in the last 3 games. So Simeon loves those two guys. I'm not really wanting to stack it up with Simeon, but they're good value plays. Deontay 42.54. We talked about Troutman at 33. You got some Devontae Smith as well as a potential value to kind of piece it with some of the big games we've been talking about. San Francisco at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Niners are -6 road favorites, over under 45.
Yeah, not a lot to love here either. I do like a couple plays here. Like anytime you want to play Debo, he's expensive, 78, 76 coming off his best game as a Niner. But look, they're running him out of the backfield. They're using him on sweep plays. I think he might have even got a pass, or he was going to pass and pulled it down in the game. Debo is an absolute weapon for this team. So I love seeing him in this price. 78, 76 is pretty good as well. Jeff Wilson Jr., if Eli Mitchell doesn't go, it's a big if right now. He has a fractured finger. So his status is up in the air, but Wilson was the other guy they go to. They don't go to Sermon. So you can pay for Sermon, but it might be Hasty. It might be Cannon. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be Sermon. So Jeff Wilson Jr., 5,100 and 5,000 is decent. There's just nothing I'm interested in on the Jacksonville side. James Robinson came up on the injury report. I'm not going to play Hyde. Maybe Jamal Agnew, but he's being priced up a little bit at 47 and 5,300. Dan Arnold is decent, but another guy that's priced up at 41 and 54. I'd rather go with the other guys we mentioned. If you really want, the Niners defense might not be a bad play at 37 and 49 against the Jags.
And I don't mind that Niners defense call, as for sure. Love Debo, love Jeff Wilson. Those were the two Niners I had circled as well. The only other options I will go with on this one is I like Dan Arnold. I know he's more expensive, but I think he's still in play just because the workload's crazy. But what if I told you over the last 2 weeks, Laviska Shenault's leading the wide receivers in targets at 12?
I mean, how could we tell? How many catches does he have on those 12 targets?
That's a great question here. That part's not on here.
I think it's 4 or 5.
That's pretty bad.
It's less than half. I know that. So, because he got Agnew had no targets the other day, but he had 3 rushes, and in one of them he took 66 yards for a score. So they're not only throwing him the ball, which they did the other day, I understand that, but they're also just finding a way to get the ball in Agnew's hands. That's the kind of stuff we thought they were going to be doing with Shenault, and they just aren't doing it for him. So it's annoying.
Yeah, no, Jones is they're spreading it all around looking at the target shares of the last few games. So it's all over the board. I prefer Agnew because they are trying to get him the ball in more ways, or at least Marvin Jones, kind of the safety valve. But overall, don't play the Jags. What it comes down to.
Yeah.
Just pick your poisons with those Niner players like Debo. He's just a great one-off at any point in time, like you said. And Jeff Wilson could be a super value if necessary. All right, final game on this main slate of action. Washington football team at the Carolina Panthers. Carolina -3.5, over under 43.
I mean, if you want to play McCaffrey at 89 and 10,000, I get it, because he's back and the usage is up. Antonio Gibson looked better at 59 and 67, but this is a tough run D. They're playing against Carolina. DJ Moore at 59 and 67, I think, is a good price. Robbie Anderson at 46 and 56 is a good price as well. Anytime you want to go with McLaurin is fine. But outside of that, there's not a lot to love in this game. I'm not going to Cam. I just can't do it. I'm not going to Heineke either. And I usually love Ricky Seals-Jones, but Logan Thomas might come back. He might be activated, but he hasn't been. And Ricky Seals-Jones didn't practice on Wednesday. So we'll see what his status is moving forward. So John Bates might be a decent punt at 25 and 4,800. Not messing with any tight ends in Carolina yet. So I think that's all I really like. My main thing is T-Mac.
Yeah, I like Christian McCaffrey quite a bit. If you can afford it, I think it's great. Go ahead and get yours right there. Otherwise, yeah, not a whole lot I want in this game. I can see a lot of scenarios playing out. I just don't love any of them.
Right.
I guess if you want a cheap defense, the Carolina defense at 27 and 41 is in play. I think there's other defenses that are a little more expensive this week, But if you need a cheapie, I'd go that direction. All right, let's recap things real quick, folks. And as we recap, we will recap how these did on your Monday show as our Tuesday show, as always. But let's go through things real quick here, Bogman. And I need to. Wow, I'm on the wrong page on something here. But let's go. Who are your top quarterbacks on this slate?
So we're doing 3 per position. That's the deal.
Do 3 per position, and we'll recap those next week.
All right. So my 3, I'm going to give you here: Joe Burrow, my number 1 quarterback, 66.74. Justin Fields, 2 at 57 and 68, and then I'll go with Mahomes. Is expensive, but I don't care. 76 and 8,300. I love him.
Yeah,
so those are my.
Price does not matter. So go if you like them, roll.
Okay, so those are my 3 then. Burrow, Fields, and Mahomes.
Yeah, my number 1 will be Burrow as well. I'm going to go that route, and then I'm going to bring it back with Kirk Cousins as a potential in that game. And then last but not least, I'm going to go with this is tricky because I like some of these value ones quite a bit, which makes it a little more interesting. I want to go Tua so bad, but I'm going to go Fields. I think it's time. So I'm going to go with Burrow, Cousins, and Fields. So we have 2 of the same. We have 2 of the 3 each. So that'll be a fun as well. But it kind of shows you where some of the value is / the elite players are still elite for a good reason.
Right.
All right. Running back position. Who are your 3?
I'm going to go with James Conner, 61 and 72. Love that price. And I think they will be focusing on him getting the ball against Seattle because they got a banged up quarterback. Seattle's defense is bad. So Conner is my number 1 at 61 and 7,200. Second, I'm going to go with Deontay Foreman, 4,900 and 5,200. He's a nice, cheap option. And I think, if you're Houston, you want to run the ball. You want to make Tennessee stand on the sidelines and panic a little bit because that worked for Washington against Tampa Bay last week. And that is the name of the game when your team is bad. It is something that you want to do. So I don't know why I said that because he's on Tennessee. So I'm just dumb and getting all my stuff mixed up. But the same difference. I mean, Tennessee wants to keep Houston on the sideline, and they don't want Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball because he hasn't looked good the last couple of weeks. So same logic, 49-52. And then my last one, I'm torn here. Give me Daryl Williams at 54 and 6,300 for Kansas City. So just the dude has been going off. So give me Daryl Williams.
Well, we're going to share one because I had Daryl Williams as my 3rd one. So I'll just get him out of the way now. I'm with you on that one because I do feel that so much offense there. Don't forget about Daryl Williams to make it happen. I got Joe Mixon. Like I told you, I like the Burrow to Mixon to either Chase or Higgins stack. Big fan of that one. I think Mixon gets his through the air or the ground. And then my top play, A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
Give A.J. Dillon the rock. So I'm a big A.J. Dillon fan this week, and that'll be my 3rd running back. All right, wide receivers, Bogman, where are you looking at on this one?
Well, I'll just take Tyreek. I'll pair him and Mahomes as 1 and 2 options because I think he just smokes. Diggs or Brown, doesn't matter. I think he has an enormous game. So he's 1. God, I have 6 other options on this paper I wrote. I'll take T. Higgins, like you said, 54 and 6,800. I think he's a huge part of this offense this week for Cincinnati, and I love that price. My last one, I guess just because I've been talking him up all week, give me Darnell Mooney, 52 and 6,000 to pair with my Justin Fields call.
I like those quite a bit. And yes, there are lots and lots of options here, which makes it very, very fun. But I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman as 1.
He's 1. He was on my list too.
I think he's going to get his, so have some fun with that one. I really like some Bateman action in this one, and most of these guys are affordable, so you can kind of mix and match some things here. I like Bateman. I like T. Higgins. Like I told you, my stack, you can pretty much start building your lineup if you want on some of my stuff here. And I'll do another value play here. And like Bog says, when it comes to receivers, there's a lot of ways to go here. But I'm going to go with Bateman, Higgins, and Jalen Waddle. So all 3 guys, very, very affordable.
On my list too. The other guys I had, just so you know, are Moore and Cooks. That's it.
Yeah, I don't mind any of those. Don't mind any of them. I think there's a lot of great ways to build this week, which makes it really, really fun. And that's why, and the receivers like the Bateman, Higgins, Waddle, and then your guys, I could also get in double digits and all very affordable. So you can match it up. Like in reality, on running backs, I almost put McCaffrey down, but I didn't want to. I think you can. Back in the day, like not maybe last year he was out almost all year, but like 2 years ago and beyond, you pretty much just plugged him in the first play every week.
Right. Yeah.
And just moved on. So after what I've seen last week, it's getting close to feeling that way again. All right. Where do you want to stack it up this week?
We're not doing tight ends? I got 3 tight ends written down.
Okay. Who you got at tight ends? Who you got at tight end?
Conklin is my 1. Troutman is my 2, and my boy Jeff Swain to get a touchdown as well.
I like that. I'm going to go with Gesicki. I think it's a bounce back spot. That's why, I got Waddle, Gesicki. I almost went 2 over Fields, by the way.
Okay.
I almost went there, but I would have got too many homer calls. But I got Gesicki in there. I think Conklin is a great call. I like that one quite a bit. I've been writing him up almost every week in my value cash game articles. And I'll follow your lead in Troutman. I've written him up like 2 of the last 3 weeks. So, all value tight ends outside. Gesicki's expensive, but I think no one's going to roster him after last week. So I like that as a very good tournament play. I guess I'll be different, actually. I'll take Troutman off mine. I'll go Gesicki, Conklin. Give me Dawson Knox, assuming he's good to go this week.
All right, I like that.
I think that's a fun one to be a little different on that game to get a piece of Buffalo. Who are you stacking up this week?
I mean, speaking of Buffalo, Indianapolis at Buffalo, I think is a good one that we didn't mention too many plays, but there's a lot of guys that, Wentz was just off my list. I think Hilton is a good option. We love Diggs. We love Taylor, obviously. Beasley or Sanders are always in play. I think there's a lot of good plays there. Green Bay, Minnesota. We've talked about ad nauseum. Dallas and Kansas City is the big one this week. Also will have a high roster percentage, and the one that we like probably the most, Cincinnati and Vegas.
Yep, those are the 4 I had written down here. Cincy, Vegas, Dallas, KC, Green Bay, Minnesota, Indy, Buffalo. You can tell through my picks, kind of like a little Miami action there. I kind of just put the Jets, but I think I'm going to be heaviest on Cincy and the Vegas Raiders game, so we'll see how that one plays out. But speaking of all that, you guys better make sure you follow LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL, because they tweet out tons of great content time and time again, but most importantly, once a week, they tweet out the touchdown calls of the week from myself, Bogman, and Ryan Humphreys. If you retweet that tweet, 3 lucky retweeters will get paired with each one of us, and you have a chance to win some free swag if our guy finds the end zone. So, Bogman, on week 11, 12-game slate, who's your touchdown call of the week?
Give me Deontay Foreman. Doesn't matter what team he's on. He's scoring a touchdown in Houston this week, so let's go.
I love it. I hope you guys by now, if you listen to all the podcasts I've done this week, know who I'm picking. But he wears green and gold. He's going to be running the ball like Derrick Henry back there. Give me A.J. Dillon to the house this week. Loving the big man. The big man is going to eat like it's Thanksgiving Day a few days early. So give me some A.J. Dillon.
Love it.
All right. Well, that'll wrap us up for the week, Bogman. Another fun week of pre-snap action in the books. If you guys can check out the LineStar YouTube page, give it a subscribe and enjoy the content there, or give us a rate review on iTunes. However you consume the podcast, we truly would appreciate it. But more importantly, check out Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm Matt B. Andrew. You guys have a great weekend. Good luck to everybody, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Good luck. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate for good karma in your fantasy football